Welcome to Single Tree Nation. I'm your man, Charlie Eblin, the host and owner of Single Tree Woodfire Barbecue. We are here to build community through undeniable hospitality, storytelling, and the perfect plate of barbecue. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Single Tree Nation. I am super excited about this show. As always, we have our illustrious co-host, Mr. Derry Wells, with us.
What's up, everybody?
Tonight, we have some special guests, a little bit off of our norm from a restaurant owner or entrepreneur kind of vibe. We're going more into youth sports.
That's right.
We have Gary, Maryam,
That's correct.
Eady.
Yes.
That's right.
Perfect.
Make sure I said it right.
Like the ice cream with an A, without the A.
Without the A.
Well, yeah, the Edie's
With A.
ice cream has
Edie's,
no A.
yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, welcome, guys. Thanks for
phonetics.
coming to hang out with us for a little while.
Thanks for having us.
Definitely.
Derry and I have been doing this for a little while now. So we love having people on the show that make an impact in our community. I started my business with a mission of becoming the Nike of barbecue, which is to help build and grow community through undeniable hospitality, storytelling of the podcast, and other stories, and then the perfect plate of barbecue from the restaurant. So we try to give a platform for others in our community to be able to tell their story, what they're trying to do and accomplish, and make an impact in their worlds, right? So when a mutual friend of mine and y'all said, hey, I have somebody that's doing something really cool, you should talk to them, I thought it would be really cool to get you guys on as soon as possible. So now we're here. Can't wait to really dive into it. But before we go into what 4EO is, why don't you guys take a couple of seconds and tell us who you are and what you do, and we can kind of go from there.
Sounds great.
Okay.
After you.
Excuse me, Maryam Eady. I am currently, by trade, I am a project manager. I am a senior director at Share Care, which is all your health in one place. It's an app that you can download on your phones. So that's what I do 9 to 5. But in between there and all around there, I'm working on our passion project, which is the 4EO Community Center. And we'll get into the details of that. Ended up in Murfreesboro by way of MTSU. So I'm from Chattanooga, went to high school there and elementary school as well.
Awesome.
I'm Gary Eady. I am from Lynchburg, Tennessee, by way of Fayetteville, Tennessee, and of course Tullahoma. So all through up that little corridor there. I, of course, to her point, she and I, we met at MTSU. I was a basketball player all through high school, played football in high school, played ball in college, and, getting through college after that career was
You played basketball at MTSU?
No, I was supposed to come to MTSU. But I started off with Motlow, and then was getting recruited by a guy named Bruce Stewart back then.
Yep.
Hey, Bruce Stewart. That's a name I remember. Yeah. I've been around Murph for a long time. My dad was what do they call him, the GA, graduate assistant, under Bruce way back when. That's how I got to Murfreesboro.
Yep.
Dad moved here to do that,
Okay.
and then I was 4 and ain't left since. So anyway, that's been a minute, but sorry.
But
Not many people know Bruce Stewart anymore. So when you say that name, that's anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so
I love it.
That was part of the journey. Of course, things happen along the way, and and that didn't kind of pan out, but still continue to be a college student. And actually was a mass comm major. So and that's where I met this young lady. We were mass comm majors at MTSU, had a television show that we worked on. It was the MTSU channel back then.
Yep.
It was called Night Beat.
Night Beat. Kind of like
So fancy.
I like it.
so it kind of puts you in the mind of the old Arsenio Hall.
Yeah,
type
yeah,
format,
that's exactly where my brain went.
That's
I like it.
That's exactly what it was.
That's what it was. And I recall.
Like I can see it.
We had live performances. We had everything. It was so much fun.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
It was. And of course, with
I haven't thought about my MTSU years. And now, like, I just the stuff's
You
coming back to
flashback.
me. I'm like, man, it's wild. I
It was
remember.
called Channel 8.
Yeah. But like that mass comm building, because that's the one that had the big round edge, right?
Yes.
It was the coolest building. The acoustics in there
Perfect.
The moment you walked in, it was perfect. Like, it was just awesome. And I just went in there to visit friends who did shows and stuff. I didn't ever. Anyway, so I was,
Me too.
I'm having a flashback right
I know
now.
the feeling. Yeah.
So that was our life. We were full-fledged into mass communications. My goal, of course, I had this dream of graduating, going down to Atlanta, working for ESPN, and then potentially even with ESPN or even CNN. Didn't quite work out, but that was the plan. I ended up, passing off that and took a job at Channel 2. So I did the Channel 2, the 5 and 6 o'clock news with, at the time, it was Victoria Hansen and Neil Orn.
Yeah.
So I was a cameraman.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was my first role there. Of course, during this night beat show that we had, she and I both produced the whole nine. And I recall our first show, our host that we had
He backed
backed out on us, and we didn't have a host. So yours truly had to step in. I was
jump in
more
there.
behind the scenes guy. I wasn't in front of the camera. So I'm like, all right, well, let's try this, see how things go. And we made it through. It was a mess. I will say that. That was back when you remember when guys used to have pagers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that show was airing live, and there was a person that saw me, one of my friends, and she paged me. She's like, and I looked at pager.
You checked it on air.
But yeah,
That is outstanding.
yeah, that was all right,
Pagers.
but-
Man,
Yeah.
there's a world. That
Are you
was-
still with Channel 2?
Oh no, that was short lived. That was back when it was $8 an hour.
Okay.
So I was a cameraman. So I was
Yeah.
working at Channel 2. I had to be there at 4 a.m. I did 5 and 6 o'clock news, of course, all the way through lunchtime.
Yep.
I'd leave there at noon. I'd drive over to FedEx, and I had a pickup route that I ran for FedEx. So I would do that from 2 to 9. So I'm working 4 to 12 at Channel 2, and then 2 to 9 at FedEx. That
Man.
was the live.
And I was at Channel 4.
She was at Channel 4.
At the same time.
Okay.
Well, I thought I was going to LA. I
Okay.
was after graduation. I'm headed to LA. I've got my mass comm degree. We're gonna find something to do. I guess ran across the wrong person that sold me a dream, and luckily I wasn't out of anything, but never made it to LA. And there was a part of my heart tugging me back to Murfreesboro.
It's that vacuum that Murfreesboro
Yeah.
has. You can't ever get out of
Right,
Murfreesboro
you
once you
can't.
get in
It's so
Murfreesboro.
sticky.
You can leave. You gonna come back.
But now it's
That's exactly right. I went back home to Chattanooga. Then I ended up coming here doing a paid internship with Channel 4 while I worked at SunTrust Bank. And it just wasn't going to get it,
It was rough. It was
It
rough.
was.
But I mean, we made the ends meet.
So what are you doing now, Gary?
So I just spent my last 17 years, well, 20 years, of course, in corporate America, but I spent the last 17 years at Cardinal Health. I
Okay.
wore multiple hats out there, from inventory to sales to operations, customer operations, just getting an opportunity to totally understand that business and taking what I learned through that and stepped away, and I'm full-fledged with 4EO Center, trying to get this thing off the ground.
I like it. I like it. And y'all live in the Blackman community, correct?
We do.
Yes.
And before the show, you said you have a son.
Yes.
Any other kids?
Yeah, we have two sons.
Two
Yeah,
sons.
yeah. I have an
Okay.
older son. He's 27.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have our youngest son, which is he's 18 now, just getting ready to graduate, getting
Okay.
recruited right now. So,
Senior Blackman.
Yes, he
Yes.
is.
Okay.
And he's a starting point guard over there.
Okay.
So he's trying to figure out what his next step is.
So he's the reason we're good.
That's the well. I take it. No, it's the
It's the
collective.
full team.
It's that collective.
They are a
group.
strong
glad you said
team.
that.
They're coached very well. Have one of the best. coaches.
So I have 3 boys,
Okay.
and my 18-year-old is at UTC in Chattanooga.
Okay.
My 13-year-old is at Blackman Middle, and my youngest is 11, and he's at Browns Chapel getting ready to go to Blackman Middle.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And he made his first, and I may say this wrong, his first AAU
Yeah, that's
travel
right.
basketball team.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Now I'm going to tell you the 3 things that I know about basketball.
All right.
Okay.
It's round, it's brown, and like that.
And you got to jump
That's
at
right.
some point.
You are way farther advanced than I am. Okay. It's where we hold the pep rallies. Okay. I'm too short. And that's it.
It's round.
There's not 3. Yeah. I don't know anything about basketball. I don't know the positions. I can stumble through a conversation. I told my son the other day that I'm going to go buy the book Basketball for Dummies, just so I can start learning. Trent's like, I got you. I just don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
I love basketball when I was a kid. I grew up watching Jordan and Kobe and just that whole deal. Well, Kobe was later, but so today's world is a totally different game than what it was when I was watching
Yes,
it.
it is.
And we have arguments all the time. And we can get into that argument of who the greatest of all time is, because I just love having the conversation. But
It's not an argument.
He's already starting to look serious.
It's not an argument.
You got to watch Derry. We'll get excited about it. We start talking about goats, and the whole world changes.
gosh.
It's great. But so he just made a team literally yesterday.
Okay.
We got the word.
Nice.
What age group is it again?
Fifth grade.
Fifth grade.
Okay.
Okay.
Fifth grade. So 11 years old, 12 years old, something like that. He's playing in the Smyrna Rec League
Yes.
now, and that's what he's been doing. And, he's so young. We've had him in basketball and baseball and anything that he wanted to do.
Right.
But he's good at basketball. He has fun playing baseball. His two older brothers play baseball.
All right.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He's probably good at baseball
So-
too, though, isn't he?
He's fast.
Okay.
He's got a good arm. He doesn't understand the game like he understands basketball.
Gotcha.
It's my middle child's baseball IQ. He just knows where to go, when to go, and how to do it. Right. My youngest basketball IQ, he just knows where to go. You flip those kids, and you put a duck out of water, and they don't know what to do. Right. So
I
it's the
think
same
about my
thing.
son when he was that age. We were playing Little League baseball, and he was 11. I can tell you where we were at Starplex having the conversation, and we're sitting there, and that was before it got to the major league or big league or whatever they called it with the 13-year-olds, right? And because they were on the bigger field that was down low, and he's standing at third base, and I'm watching. He's kind of just looking at those kids. And after the game, he goes, "Hey, this is my last year of baseball." I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "They're too serious." And he knew somewhere
not
in there
fun.
that 100%. And he knew somewhere that switch of the fun to
Yeah.
it became the real deal, and he knew that was his. And I years later I asked him as he got older and high school stuff. I says, "Do you ever regret it?" He goes, "Not a day." He goes, "I knew he had a blast. We played for 7 or 8 years, coached all those years. We were best friends. Still have friends from those, and he never regretted it because it got serious,
Yeah.
And so, because y'all were saying that the sports today is different, and so for him, Mason or whichever one's in the lower,
Yeah, Mason.
that doesn't quite. It's the fun side of baseball, and before it gets baseball.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because once they hit middle school and high school, them boys are different.
Well, I'll be honest. Our son, he was really good at baseball. We
He's
came
a
up
lefty,
playing.
too.
Okay.
He was a lefty. We came up playing Little League, and Pee Wee went T-ball in Little League. But it was that once you get to kid pitch, the game changes.
It did.
And that was that desire of, no, this is not for me anymore. It was all fun and games. They had him playing shortstop as a lefty because he was one of the best players on the team. You can't play shortstop.
But that's awkward. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
very
very
awkward.
At that age, you could do this. But once they
Yeah.
get to an age where it's really...
I tell you, I noticed another change, really this last year in my middle son. Once he got done with his 6th grade year, and we went into travel ball, I noticed a difference not just in my child, but in everybody on our team. Like all the kids on both teams, our travel team and our school team. The difference in the kids. Something changed. It's they're all, the voices are changing and hair's
Yeah.
coming under the arms, and my middle child thinks he has a mustache now, and he's 13.
They smell like a field of
Right.
onions.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Is that the glove or is that you?
Yeah. He wants to wear deodorant
Right.
now.
Yeah.
He wants to. I'm like, what's going on, buddy? But there's a there's a change in just the mental side of it, and I think, like you said, that switch flips.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
for
like,
some of it does,
ooh,
and some of it doesn't.
this is different. And I actually had a conversation with our travel team's coach
Have you
about
got
the same thing.
Your travel dad lean down yet? You know what I'm talking about? It's where you put your elbows on the fence and you just kind of look. And you know what I'm talking about?
Travel dad lean.
It is. You can see them there lined up down there, just
Yep.
telling, oh man, you know.
So what's funny is I have to sit in my chair.
Oh, you're that dad.
I have to. If
Otherwise-
I don't sit in my chair, there's like
You get unruly.
there's a path.
There was
like you don't need a weed eater anymore. Like just let me
Up and
walk.
down.
I'll just wear it out. So the funny part about this is the head coach for Charlie's middle travel ball team knows that if he wants to get under my skin, he puts my son in the pitch. My son's not a
Get you
pitcher.
worked up.
He plays third base, shortstop, and second. Okay, that's what he plays.
He's an infielder.
He
He's
does
not a
not.
pitcher.
He is
Does
not
he
a
want
pitcher.
to pitch? Or just,
Oh yeah, yeah.
wants-
But
okay,
he
so-
thinks
Everybody
he's,
wants to pitch,
He thinks
right?
he's Nolan Ryan.
Okay.
Because the 4 innings that he's pitched in his life, he's done well. But you want to talk about giving somebody some heartburn and palpitations. Oh, my blood pressure goes through the roof
But he pitches well though, right?
most of the time.
So, Dad, with that being said, you have to allow him that the coach sees something in him.
Oh, I
You
do.
know?
He's like, but I'm going to have a heart attack in the
step back.
meantime.
I don't
Only
say
issue,
anything.
right?
Okay.
I'm good.
Charlie just goes to the bathroom during that time.
I'm just sitting over there going, "Oh my Lord." Okay, please throw a strike. Please.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Yeah.
It is. It's tough being a parent.
It's tough being a parent.
of a kid.
Yes.
That's an
And
athlete.
then,
You just wanted to be
the
successful.
grandparent level, you get to start enjoying it. And I'm basing that on my mom, who, to my collective, an event that any of her grandkids have had, she hasn't missed anything. Dance recitals, theater,
Oh, that's
sons, baseball
awesome.
stuff, everything. One of my high school coaches was Coach Pierre Lyons, one of Murfreesboro's first pro baseball players around here and stuff. And he, I would see him at the ballpark, and his grandson was playing. He's about 2 years younger than my son. And I'd go up to him and say, "Hey, Coach Lyons, what's up? Why are you all the way out here?" He's beyond the dugout. No matter which side he was on, he's beyond the dugout on where the dirt meets the turf. What are you doing? I see the field better from out here. What he didn't say was, I don't want to get involved in all the parent stuff because I'm watching the game. That's kind of his thing.
You bring up a good point. We're going to take a quick break.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we're going to come back and we're going to dive into 4EO.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Because I want to know all about it.
Sounds good.
Welcome back, guys. Now we are going to start diving into what 4EO is, why, and the whole kit and caboodle, where, the whole thing. Because I am, as we started talking, you probably already know I'm pretty big into youth sports. I think kids today, and you may or may not share this opinion, but I think kids today are not developed enough in the athletic side of things for life. And I think kids athletics, youth especially, we have such an opportunity to mold the next generation of leaders from a parental standpoint and a coach standpoint. And we can teach so many life lessons on a ball field, a basketball court, soccer field, football field, whatever it may be. And we just have just such an amazing opportunity to do that. So I'm kind of
We
getting
strongly
chills.
share in that same opinion.
I love it. I love it. So this is going to be a lot of fun then. So to start with, 4EO. What is 4EO?
4EO stands for for each other. So this whole 4EO thing kind of arrived at Blackman. So when our son Garrison was in middle school over at Blackman Middle, we would go over to the high school and watch the high school games. And during warm-ups, they wore these shirts that said 4EO on it. And for years, from 6th grade to 8th grade, I've always wondered, what does 4EO mean? But didn't know who to ask until my son made the team as a freshman. And so he's part of that group now of 4EO. And so I'm like, he came home one day. I'm like, son, what does 4EO stand for? He said, Dad, it stands for each other. And so they actually say it in the huddle, 1, 2, 3, for each other. And so I was like, I like that. And so with that mindset, as my son's playing there, she and I, we started talking about, as they're coming out of that freshman season, going into AAU that following summer, I had stopped coaching AAU. So I coached my youngest all the way up until he started, they were first graders. And so we started our program. Let me take a step back. So we started coaching these kids. They were at YMCA, 3 years old.
Yeah. But even before that, with our oldest son, you had a few teams, and brought him through the Smyrna League.
Rec League.
Smyrna Rec League, just like you said. Yeah. He coached there and brought that group through. So then there was a break from where he went on and started playing high school, and then Garrison got old enough to play basketball. Like we said, he played soccer and baseball and t-ball all the way up until he could get on the basketball court. And that's when, once he started playing for the Smyrna League, we realized, whoa, that little gap between Jalen moving on to middle and high school and then us getting back into the leagues with Garrison has totally changed the game.
So with our oldest and the youngest, there's a 9-year gap there. Mm-hmm. And so you could see the difference in how the landscape had changed tremendously from when I was coaching Jalen through the Smyrna Rec League, and then AAU was just beginning. It wasn't just as huge as it is now. Yeah. And so most of it was just local. We were just traveling local, And so, but once Garrison became of age and, that landscape changed. And so I had a team of 10 kids. 7 of them were in first grade, 3 of them were in kindergarten. And I decided to put this group together, and we're going to start traveling. And so, of course, people looked at me like, what the hell are you doing? How are you going to teach?
Especially the parents on the team were like, we're going to travel.
Because I had a tryout.
We going to go where?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I had this tryout, and so all these kids show up, and, but I'm looking at 10 of these kids. I'm like, wow. These kids are really good. Some of them didn't make it, of course. Some of them couldn't tell the difference between football and a basketball, of course. Right. But the 10 that I kept were just like high-level kids. Now, you think about this. That was 10 years ago. Yep. So here we are now, fast forward. All of those kids that I had, they're all playing for high schools around here now. Some of them, and some of them are getting recruited, And so it's just kind of looked at, okay, how that all transpired. So anyway, taking those kids, kindergarten, first graders, and we were traveling back and forth to Nashville. They have a program, an organization in Nashville called NYBA. That was the first huge AAU program that I was aware of. However, I just got these 10 kids down here in Rutherford County, but we're going to get out of here and we're going to Nashville. I want to take the show on the road. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Every weekend we were going up there and we were playing teams and we're beating these teams. And every week we'd come back. There's a different kid, 2 or 3 other kids that they're trying to pull on different teams, just trying to mix them up to play against us, and we'd beat those teams. And so I remember, this went on for about 8 weeks, and we found ourselves in this championship game. And a whole new set of kids came from, and I'm like, where are these kids coming from to play us?
Wasn't no film, was there?
Not at all. But, long story short, we won. We won it all up there. Nice. And so that's what we put this group on the map. And so a lot of those guys up there, they know about youth sports down here in Rutherford County. And so a lot of people kind of look at me as one of those first people to kind of really start this whole AAU travel ball program down here in Rutherford County. Yeah.
I think what sticks out the most in my mind is I think we were on into 3rd or 4th grade at this time. And we were in maybe Cleveland or Ringgold, Tennessee, right around Chattanooga. Yeah. And the parents in that gym swore these kids were not the grade we said they were. I mean, they were just like, there's no way.
Baseball tournaments like that before.
There's no way. The way they're moving, the way they know what to do, all these things that he had taught them. And I always had team mom extraordinaire here. I had the birth certificates, we're like, here it is. Here's their grades in school and all of these
Report cards,
things.
you have to have all that
cards.
stuff when you travel. You got to bring all that.
So,
because you're going to have people that are going to cheat. Y'all,
Oh, yeah.
In youth sports and travel sports, you're going to see that. That stuff's going to happen. But
I'm so naive. Like I really just think that it's kids sports, so kids sports should just be kids. Right?
It
Like,
should.
I will tell you, and you know, we were kind of talking about this a minute ago, but in today's world, youth sports it's so incredibly competitive.
it is.
Sure.
And I had this conversation with my dad not too long ago too, and I was trying to tell him, you know, if you have a child that has any kind of dreams and aspirations of playing in college, you know, number one, they got to play for their middle school team.
Yeah.
Two, then they got to play for a travel team. Then they got to play for their high school and continue the travel. And they have to eat right. They have to work out.
yes,
They got to
Gotta
study.
train.
They got to train. They got to do all of these things, and then they might
the slither.
have a shot at catching somebody's attention 3 states away
Yeah.
that's coming to see somebody else play
Yeah.
that just happened to see them dribble between their legs and go, ooh, that's my kid.
And I tell you what, you spend a good years of college tuition, maybe 2 years, just on travel ball and training. Like, in order to be competitive, they have to go to training outside of practice.
Right.
High school coaches are not interested in teaching your child how to play basketball.
They want them already ready.
And some will develop them, right? Middle school, some will develop, but even in middle school, some are like, what have you been doing during with your summers, right?
I've
and
found,
that's
and maybe you guys
tough.
found the same thing, is they go to practice and they do whatever the coach deems necessary for practice, and which is great, but it's only a couple hours.
yeah.
And there's so many hamstrings on what the state quote unquote allows
Yes.
them to do.
Yes.
Like we just got an email from my middle son that they're allowed to go back and actually practice a couple of days, mind you, earlier than originally stated. Well, a couple of days ain't gonna make us any better this year.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Like that. If you weren't doing anything all off season,
Yeah.
then you didn't get any better.
Right.
You're gonna be the same team you were last year.
Right.
But the kids, they spend so much time wanting to play Fortnite
Yep.
or Candy Crush or Snapchat with their girls and boys and
Yeah.
whatever
Yes.
that they're not putting in the work to get any better.
And that's where
The rubber meets the road.
rubber meets
That's
the
where
road
You,
and
that's
you
where you
figure it
separate
out.
yourself from your peers. And
Yeah.
that's where parents have to understand, you know, because early on, I'm having to teach parents that Bobby's not as good as Johnny. And the reason for that is because, you know, Johnny puts in this work. Johnny does those things, the extra things. Will Bobby ever get to that point? Absolutely, he can. But this is what you're going to have to do. Kids develop at their own pace. Every kid's not the same. And, you know, and it's hard for a parent to truly understand when you come out and you see Johnny over here, he's hitting threes, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's hitting home runs, you know, he's whatever the sport may be.
Yeah.
But he's put in that work. Some kids have natural talent, but I can promise you, if you do not continue to foster that development, that kid's going to catch up to that talent.
we've seen a lot of raw talent, athleticism, just God-given natural athleticism not make it to the next level because they missed the fact that they still
Well,
gotta work.
what's that saying? Hard work beats talent
Yes,
every day.
Every
day.
single time.
Every single
I don't
time.
think my middle son is as talented as a baseball player, and I say it to him, as most of the kids on the middle school baseball team. But he'll outwork them
Yep.
every day.
And that's what you can't teach. And that's the difference between, you can't teach a kid to want to go put in the work.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's what kids don't truly understand. Your effort, you control your effort. You can't control the result. You have to understand that. How much effort you put in, you have control of that. Whatever the end result is, you can't control it. So only focus on the focus.
I want to play devil's advocate for just a second. How much of that is because kids are developing at their own pace they are realizing maybe the passion is not there that they thought they had, or they think, hey, I thought I enjoyed this, but now that I'm at this level, I want to do X, Y, Z, not because it's necessarily preferred. It's just where I don't enjoy it as much, but yet they still have that nagging part of, but I kind of like it. And so they're trying to tiptoe around, do just enough to be there, but not enough to excel. You know what I'm saying?
I see it.
And how much of that is kids figuring that part out? Mom and dad are encouraging them, pushing them, but they don't want to disappoint mom and dad, but the joy is not there. And and it all kind of feeds together. But, you know, because I see enough kids who have that desire to enjoy the sport, but don't enjoy the competition. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I wonder, though, about how much, because when you start seeing the number of kids y'all have seen, very, very limited scope here for me. I mean, I'll be real honest. It starts to, it sounds like you have to be able to almost know the kid, not just the sport, know the family, know what those markers are for, hey, he's going to be the one who wants to try. And because that gets a challenge.
He always said he will recruit a parent and a family before he recruits a player.
You need to say that for those in the back.
I mean,
I'll say it loud.
100 times over. Like, you're only going to make it as far as those parents let you make it, regardless of the age of the child. So we always did that. But to address what you're really saying is opportunity. So what about those who don't want to travel, but want to just go pick up a game, have a good time? That's what got us to the 4EO Community Center. Hats off to Coach Barry Wortman for coming up with the 4EO and allowing us to use it, because it really does say what we're about. We're about being for each other. But that lack of opportunity for indoor play is what really brought us to this space.
Okay.
In COVID year 2020, was it? Yeah. We were ramping up.
Everybody remember that one.
Yes, we were ramping up. We're like, okay, yes, this has been put on our heart by God. This is what we're supposed to do. We're full force ahead. And then COVID hit, and we're like, oh, we misheard you? Or, you know, like, okay, maybe this isn't it. So we backed up. But then I think there's a lot to be said in how much we matured in those 4 years and the things that our eyes were open to. During those years, we were able to take high school age boys and travel. These were boys that had the talent, but didn't necessarily all have the same type of opportunity. And as we took them on, helped them with travel costs, helped them with team costs, we used points and hotel points and airline points. Some of them flew for the first time with us to Dallas and Virginia Beach, all for exposure, right? As we did that, that's what just occurred to me and Gary, like, this is what we want to do more of. We want to help kids who don't have the opportunity, who can't afford a $1,500 travel basketball team. That's just what you pay to travel with them and for your uniform. You got to get your own shoes unless it's somebody who's sponsored by a big player somewhere.
Or a shoe circuit team.
Or a shoe circuit team. And then on top of that, you have to travel every weekend. So that came apparent to us, and that's why we went the nonprofit route. But the reason we're making the facility as large as we are is because there needs to be indoor opportunity in Murfreesboro.
So, Charlie, you said something.
Is packed. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Because you made a good point. You were talking about, you know, kids going to these tournaments to be seen by colleges 3 states away.
Yeah.
And so that was the whole purpose of us traveling, is to get these kids that exposure, because those tournaments weren't happening here.
Right.
For 4 years, we did this from that 8th grade all the way up through their 11th grade year. We're traveling to all these different venues. And what we're realizing is when we get to these venues, whether it's in Atlanta or if it's Louisville or wherever, there's so many AAU programs here in Tennessee, in Middle Tennessee, that are going to the same tournaments.
We always saw people we knew.
Saw the same, we're always seeing. And so guess what the conversations were being had? I'm having conversations with people there about Well, let me help you to truly understand this. So these are weekend tournaments, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
So you playing Friday and Saturday, trying to make pool plays so that you could at least find yourself in a championship bracket. Sunday is where you really want to be. And so that's the ultimate goal. And what we're finding is that talent here is so great that when it's time to get to championship Sunday, we're playing a team out of Nashville or a team, somewhere out of Lebanon.
So we paid $2,000 to travel to Atlanta to play the team that was 30 minutes down the road.
And we say it so many, I don't know how many times I had that conversation.
Baseball the same way.
You
Yes.
know?
Same way.
And so in my mind,
Crazy.
I'm like, we're taking all these tax dollars. We're spending all our money in other states. Like, why not bring a venue here to Middle Tennessee? One, because we talk about these kids who don't have the opportunity to be able to go. Here's the other piece. These college coaches, all these college coaches who show up at these tournaments, they're not all Power 5 schools. So their budget's about this big.
Yeah, exactly.
So they can't travel to all those places. So they got to pick and choose where we're going to go. And ideally, I want to go where I could at least get an opportunity to maybe select 2 or 3 kids before somebody else comes and gets them, but you're getting a chance to see. And now you're not like draining your budget trying to go. Yeah. And so that's very attractive for a lot of coaches locally. So if you look at the radius around here, 4-hour radius, they'll drive in Middle Tennessee.
Right.
So that was one of the things that we kind of looked at, like, okay, that's another purpose of bringing a venue like that.
So let's get into, so it's a complex. It's a basketball gym.
Nope.
Give me more gritty on what it is.
A multi-use facility anchored in sports.
Okay.
What that means is when you look at a community center, the first thing people think of basketball, volleyball, pickleball, something like that you can do indoor. Well, that's an emphasis. However, if those tournaments aren't happening, if we're not looking at basketball, volleyball, pickleball, what are we doing with this facility? Well, it's an indoor space. So now we're looking at bringing dance competitions here. We're looking at cheer competitions. We got martial arts, jiu-jitsu all over. We can bring martial arts competitions here. We can bring trade shows, home shows, drone racing, anything you do inside a facility as such. So that's why we like to express that.
Are you going to do anything exterior, anything outside?
So I'd love to be able to, potentially get land where we can take this facility, drop this facility right here in the center of some land, and then build up around it. So with that being said, leaving room for expansion. In the event we need to expand outdoors.
Indoor facility to start?
Indoor facility to start.
Exterior sports, outdoor sports down the road.
And Murfreesboro is pretty rich in outdoor spaces.
So.
I know the baseball community feels there needs to be more baseball fields, and I think the studies show the same thing, but we've got those in the
wildly
plans.
behind based on the number of people in the community and the size of the city and stuff. And I think we've got 9 fields right now that are city owned. And it should be like 25.
So the city's working on that.
Sure.
In
We've had conversations with Mayor
Shane
McFarland and Nate Williams and that group. They're working on getting those because they made it clear we are behind on baseball.
Yeah, and we can go down that whole road, but that's a bumpy one. I've had many conversations about where we're at on building things in Rutherford County, schools especially. We won't.
Blackman's its own little city.
We won't get any more hate mail coming my way today.
There you go, Charlie. There you go.
So, all right. So where do you have a place?
No. So
you're in a process of looking for this. Where are we at?
So here's where we are. Right now, we are in our pre-development stages. So we just went live with this in July of last year. And the way this all kind of kicked off was, hey, we've understood what we want to do here. We had these conversations with architects. We built out the rendering once we designed the web page. Once we did that, it was like, let's go live and just kind of kicking this out. So we met with the city team, planning team, and kind of talked about potential partnerships with the city of Murfreesboro on land lease options. And so that's kind of
But we're not limited to that.
No, not at all.
If there were, we were open to buying land, or if there were someone who had land who believed in our mission and wanted to donate that land or sell it to us at a reduced rate for our nonprofit, we would absolutely entertain those ideas as well.
20 acres to be exact.
Yes.
We're in need of 20
Need
acres.
20
and
acres?
Just
Okay.
to
That was going to be a question.
expand on the building, it's 8 basketball courts that convert to 16 volleyball or
That was gonna
pickleball
be my
courts.
next question.
We will also have some, what are they called? The labs.
The labs.
Which are half court.
Kind of set up like racquetball type, but
Gotcha.
it'll have one basket. It'll have half court basketball.
Okay.
With
Like a shooting lab, a Vertimax, things like that. So it'll be a more private area to train. We'll have a walking track upstairs. We'll have a turf area downstairs
speed and agility.
that can do speed and agility. We can do hitting practice there, all of those types of activities. Or is it pitching?
A batting cage.
Yeah, batting cage.
Gotcha.
And then upstairs we'll have suites because we are going to have life skill development classes. We are going to have workforce development classes.
That was actually something I was going to ask about.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to have the opportunity to tap into like tutoring programs or things like that, because if you're going to have kids in, meet them in all the areas, right?
Meet them where they
Yes.
are.
Right.
Yes,
Meet them where
exactly.
they
It'd
are.
be awesome for a kid to say, hey, I can do
Yes.
an hour and a half of basketball and I can do 30 minutes of tutoring right here. And I didn't have to drive across town.
Yeah.
Because we know what's like driving across Murfreesboro. Like, you know,
So Garrison has had to go to
Hooptown.
Hooptown, Winchester, McMinnville.
Like this, as far Nashville, Brentwood,
Just to
Franklin,
get training.
Just to get training. In.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's driving now, and it doesn't have to take our time up, but that drive for your young driver is not nice. So those are the things where we want to have accessibility in Rutherford County. Patterson's amazing. Sportscom is amazing, but they're packed all
the
day,
time.
every day.
Well,
You
and
can't do a pickup game.
that they were designed and brought in at a time when Murfreesboro was a much different place.
Yes.
A, size of Murfreesboro was smaller.
Yes.
B, they were reaching the community for that area when that
Yes.
area was smaller. And now so much of Murfreesboro, downtown for Patterson being such a rich development, they're even trying to bring in more with that stuff over there with the creek
Patterson
area.
Park was where I played most of the basketball I played in my lifetime.
Right, right.
And I broke both wrists in Patterson Park.
Look, I know guys
Same
that,
time.
that were playing junior pro
no.
at Sportscom, wound up going and then working at Sportscom and then coaching kids at Sportscom.
That's the dream.
That's what we
right.
want.
And
That's what
so
we're looking to do. Is
that community development there.
Yeah.
Murfreesboro's big now.
Yeah.
It needs a
Murfreesboro is
spot.
far beyond big enough to have something in the Blackman area.
Yes. Yes.
Of exactly what you're talking about. You have Sportscom. Sportscom can do what they want to do on their side of town and probably fill up that void over there.
Yeah.
But we definitely need more gyms. We need more
Yes.
activities on the west side of town. We just don't have it.
And we are going to also serve the senior population, our
love it.
homeschool population, our special needs population, all of those things. And our vision is that, yes, most seniors are going to come in the morning and work out. But what we hope is that they start to blend our seniors with our youth, because there is a generational disconnect these days as well. And what we got from our grandparents, even though mine were very long distance, a lot of kids don't get these days. So I say this and it's so cliche, but it's a beacon in the community. It's just a place where everyone can come together. And for example, our trainers, they don't have places to train. They have, school gyms are getting packed out. Blackman alone, I mean, we drive by all the time, and I tell them it's like a college campus.
They are.
There's always
Man.
kids
There's always
coming
somebody on
and
campus.
going
There's
because indoor space, that's all we've got.
I know that Oakland's indoor turf
Yes.
gets rented months and months and months at a time. And some of these indoor soccer clubs and stuff, they'll come in and just rent the whole block.
Yeah.
Haven't even figured out their schedule yet.
Yeah.
Because
They
they know
know they
that
need
they're
the
going to
space.
fill it because they
Yes.
need the space. And so it's impressive that as these get built for the schools, I've driven by Riverdale, Oakland, Blackman, 11:30
Yeah.
at night, and there's still 100 cars there. I'm like, what? This place never sleeps. Like,
it's
it's
crazy.
amazing what they do.
It's crazy. But we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
Yep.
And we'll come right back.
okay.
Okay.
Welcome back, guys. Appreciate you. We are diving hot and heavy into all things youth sports, 4EO. I'm super excited about where we're going, where we're going to be very, very soon. Yeah. Question. Do we have the nonprofit is 100% done, ready to go? We're full force?
Yes.
Okay. Where are we at from a funding standpoint to kind of push over the edge?
Okay.
We actually hit an exciting milestone at the end of last year. I'll let you tell them.
No, go ahead.
No, tell them. I've been doing a lot of talking.
So like I stated, we started this journey in July of last year when we actually went public. And so from July to December, our ultimate goal was, hey, we need to raise $50K in 50 days. That was our first initial goal. However, the second initial goal was going to be 50 million. That 50K was for our pro forma, feasibility studies, economic impact analysis, and of course our feasibility studies, pro forma,
economic impact, and the 5-year projections.
And of course our architect renderings. And so with that, we kicked off this.
No, the architect was 49,000 of it.
We had some pretty good guys. We had some pretty good guys on our side.
I shout the guys out because they're really good.
Yes.
KDGI, the architect firm on the square.
Okay.
So those guys are really
They
good.
took good care of us for being a nonprofit.
It's on our website as well.
Awesome.
But we did this whole campaign of $10 Tuesdays. Yeah. And every Tuesday, she and I were going on. We'd shoot a video and we'd get out in front of people. Hey, it's $10 Tuesday, guys. And we raised $13,000 in 50 days on that $10 Tuesday.
That's outstanding.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't meet our goal, but what we did is we met our objective, which was to raise this awareness. Yeah. And it was so amazing, the response that we got, the amount of support.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And, you think about, Rutherford County showed up, but our support came from Bedford County, Coffee County, Woodbury, Lincoln County. Those are people. And granted, I'm from down in that area. However, 30 minutes from any of those places were Murfreesboro. Right. So those guys want to come and train here. They want to be able to utilize this facility. Not to mention.
So you said 50 million.
Yeah.
50 million is the land. It's the first year operational cost. It is the building. What is it?
So that's purchasing the land.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
So if you had a lease, then you don't
then
necessarily.
That part goes out. That's probably. We're in Murfreesboro, yes. That's about half.
Depending on what this facility looks
97%.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah. That's the majority of the cost. So we put it out there because that's the overall cost. But if land were to be donated, or, I saw that Lowe's Pro Shop has opened up down the street in Smyrna. If they were to want to pour into the community that they work in, those types of opportunities would help us cut that 50 million down.
So what number do you have in your head that says, okay, I got to go find land now? It's time to break ground.
It's not necessarily a number as it is this report.
So we need that pro forma, which will give the numbers. And so we haven't gotten in front of any large donors or anyone like that because I want to be armed with being able to say, if I come to you and I'm like, hey, I need $2 million from you, you're going to want to know what am I going to do with this $2 million, and I need to be able to show, hey, this is why I need that. And so to be able to have those conversations, that is what we truly need before we start talking.
So at the end of last year, we had a bowling tournament that raised another $7,000 for us, and that was purely community. Local businesses that did lane sponsorships, local businesses that put teams together to come out and play. We had basket auctions. I mean, amazing support from the community. So that got us to 20,000, which could get the study started. Nice. So we went ahead and got it started. We're in full faith and confidence that we'll raise the remaining amount by the time it's due. But that we've had some conversations professional athletes as well. And when you get down to it and you get
Can
in
you
front,
mention those athletes?
Not at this
no,
time.
not
Okay.
yet.
Gotta ask.
Yes, they're local athletes that grew up
Okay.
in the community here. But when you get
I'm
down,
going to make a guess off air.
I got a name or two.
But to be honest, you know, I don't know if you guys know, but we have a lot of local athletes
We do,
that are
yeah.
professional. You know, they came
We
from
do.
this area.
That
We do.
professional and
And
that
I have-
semi-professional league, yeah.
And I have been trying to reach out to them for them to come on our show. So if you're watching,
Yes.
615-307-0120.
yes. So all those folks want to see these numbers, right? We want to get in front of the corporations like Under Armour or
Bridgestone, Amazon,
yes,
you know, all
even
the major
Rogers
Yeah,
Group.
yeah.
They've been very gracious with the little we have. They were one of our highlight sponsors for the bowling tournament.
Jack Daniels was a highlight
Jack
sponsor
Daniels was a highlight sponsor for us.
Nice.
So we've got
Okay.
good support out here.
Yeah. So what's the in your mind, everything lines up.
August 2026 is what I
Break ground.
Break ground on August 26th. Okay. And
goal?
open date, everything lines up.
Construction.
Depends on
August
you know,
27th?
So Rutherford, yeah.
I wish.
You know,
I wish
I
that's how
wish
January
construction
27th,
works.
January 1, baby.
I wish that was the case, but you know how much rock is in Rutherford County, so
Yeah.
how long it takes to get
Yeah,
through
dude.
all this rock.
Well-
Especially the Blackman side of town.
Yes.
I was in a meeting with a county representative yesterday where he said there's not a lot of rock in Murfreesboro. There really isn't. It's just one big
One big rock. That's
One
right.
big rock.
It's not a lot of rock. It's just a
one
rock.
big
You're
rock.
not wrong. Yeah. And if you're
Same
on the
rock,
north side of
Milton's the
town, it's got a
same
whole
one
bunch of
over
trash
in-
on top of it.
Oh
Blackburn.
gosh. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So August 26th. So a little over a year, we're going to break ground.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And in a perfect world, I know you drive around town and you're like, man, if I could have that spot. So where is
Like,
that?
that was a shoulder shrug of, yeah, we know. He knows.
I know this from a guy that started a business in the pandemic out of a food truck and would drive around town and go, man, if I could have a brick and mortar on that corner.
The time
Yeah.
we used to spend going out, those are our dates now.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to ride?
You wanna go ride?
Hey,
Yeah.
you want to go ride? And
love
that's
it.
what we do. We go
love it.
ride around and just see. And then sometimes he'll get on the county website or the city website and be like, let's go see what this land is, and we'll check it out. There's one that we've already been told we couldn't have, and that's right off of Veterans and 840. It's actually behind the Berkshire subdivision. There's a lot of land there, but that's going to become a green space, walking space with pickleball.
Okay.
So that's what that will be. And then there is.
I thought that was going to be farther down on Veterans and Shores.
Yes, that's right.
That's
That's it.
it.
Veterans and Shores.
Veterans
right
and
there.
Shores.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, if
so
you go
that-
past that, closer to 840, there's a whole bunch of space right there too, close to the
So
interstate.
am I crossover 840?
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
well, yes, you can cross over
Yeah.
840 on that side.
Yes.
Which I think is privately owned. And I think it was like 40 something acres. I could be wrong.
No, I know what you're talking
But
about.
that
I think
whole
it's on the-
that whole
yes.
section, both sides of the interstate right there have plenty of greenery that would make a great place for some basketball.
I think there's a small portion of that may be the cities, but the rest is Swanson, right?
I think Swanson owns some
Yeah.
there.
So then there's that, and then there's also, these are if we were to partner with city,
Sure,
these are
sure.
the ones we have looked at. Then there's down 96 where Del Webb is being built.
Yep.
It would be a perfect location for our seniors. It's right across the street. That is city land. They do have plans of putting baseball fields there.
That's city land?
It is.
It
yeah.
is.
In the
right
county?
across from
Yeah.
Del Webb.
Oh,
Yeah, we found that out too. I was like, really? This far out?
yeah.
Funny how things happen that way. But yes, so they are planning on developing that with
That one up.
baseball fields, and they had an indoor structure. I don't think they've decided one way or another what that would be. So we're hoping that maybe that would be an option. And then as we've networked and talked with people in the community, the amphitheater land has come up as well. That's not my favorite because it's great for those mega tournaments on the weekends that will bring economic impact. Totally agree. But I need to be able to get kids. I need it to be accessible, more accessible to the kids and our seniors and our locals.
Do you not think that would be more accessible because it's closer in center of town than on this side of town?
So here's where we are on that. I think, Charlie, and because we don't truly understand how traffic kind of works, in my mind, that's too congested.
I got you.
Especially for those mega tournaments on the weekend. I think that would just congest the city.
With the hospital
But
and
at
traffic
the
that
same
Medical Center already
time,
has.
if you look at it as a stay and play, if it was there, I know there's more hotels coming in the fountains.
Mm-hmm.
So we could make our weekend tournaments a stay and play, like you have to stay at these hotels, and then all
we
those
hope there's
businesses.
more hotels coming. There's been 3 hotels slotted for the fountains for the last 6 years.
Oh, I didn't know it
So-
had been 6 years.
Quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the reason that Burger Republic is no longer in the fountains.
Yeah. And that's what we said to
talked
someone
about
else.
That.
Yeah.
We had that same conversation with someone like, if this facility was here, Burger Republic would have never
Would
gone
have
away.
never gone away.
No,
Yeah.
no. They I think they probably were going to, and like squirrel, but
Yeah.
they were going to go probably earlier. But then Notes Live announced that they were going to put the amphitheater there, so they kind of held on.
Yes,
And
that would
used
have
some
been great.
capital for, I mean, when you're going
Yes.
to put an amphitheater across the street,
Yeah.
that's a weekend that makes your month.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
But they decided not to do that.
And
So-
that's what this would do as well.
This
A
facility-
weekend that would make
this
your
really-
month.
And
How
that's
many-
what I think about more than anything, Charlie, is, and because we talk about this, prior to just, continuously diving deeper in, one of our trips is riding around, other than looking at land, we're also riding around and looking at parking lots of restaurants
right.
during
businesses,
lunchtime,
yeah.
especially during the Monday through Thursday, because that's what people don't truly understand. You think about these mega tournaments, and you think about the millions of dollars that you feel like is about to come through a facility as such. These mega tournaments are only on the weekends. You have to have a Monday through Thursday programming in order to sustain a facility like that.
Well, that was one of the questions I was going to have for you. Is like SportsCom. You can go in a SportsCom any day of the week and go play basketball.
Right.
Right. When we were kids, outside of summertime, we would go to SportsCom and we'd play there.
Yeah.
Right. And you could do whatever you wanted to do. You go spend your $3 to get in or whatever it was back then, and you had a pickup game and you had a good time.
Yeah.
Kind of telling.
But now
how long I've been around.
now
Yeah,
the
you
basketball
sound pretty good
courts are
right
going to
there.
be slam packed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to put that in perspective, just kind of segue really quickly, looking at a Monday through Thursday programming. So what our Mondays would look like if we open these doors at 7 or 8 a.m., the first people we're looking to target are third shift workers. Do we need to take a break? Okay.
We're good.
Third shift workers, that's Nissan, Amazon, Bridgestone, wherever, these guys are looking to get off 7 in the morning. A lot of guys like to go play basketball or volleyball or pickleball, and with the facility as such, we got a lot of space here for that.
Right.
So we're looking at targeting those guys first. In addition to just the third shift workers, we're also targeting our seniors during that time. So seniors are coming in. We'll have a nutritional area there, stretch and recovery as well. But that nutritional area is a place where Bob and Tom come in, get a cup of coffee and whatnot, and as they're waiting for their yoga instructor or whatever. And so this is what we're doing for our seniors and just building out those programs. So
I love it.
So that's for 7 to 10. At 10 o'clock is when we open up for our homeschool programs and our special needs programs, because they need that curriculum also. And they utilize like churches and different places. We like to be able to have an offering for them to be able to come in, and not realizing how large the homeschool population is here.
Yeah, it is.
It's huge, as well as special needs. Imagine putting kids in wheelchairs so they in with other kids and things of that nature. In addition to the general public still coming in during that time. And so this is going on from like a 10 to 2. At 2, we're shutting down and preparing for our after-school program. The after-school program is just something to say.
We're not necessarily
not
by
gonna shut
shutting
it
down.
down.
Right. Yeah.
But it's just
We're
preparing.
switching gears.
Transition time.
Right. But
I
it's
got
still
you.
open
Yeah.
to the public.
Yeah, it's still open
Yeah,
to
makes
general
sense.
public. So, but we're getting ready for after school. After school program is geared towards sports. So we're putting a huge emphasis on sports. whether it's basketball, volleyball, pickleball, or any other introductory to sports, we're looking to build that program out so that kids are coming in. We're giving them an opportunity to make some choices here and learn some different things. Well, back to the whole training. So, during that after school program, that's from 2 to 6. Normally, what our experience has, we pick our son up from after school program. First thing we got to do is shoot him out to Hooptown or Patterson or somewhere.
Or Smyrna or Antioch.
So what we want to be able to do is offer that training during those after school hours so that when parents pick their kids up at 6, instead of trying to get them somewhere to train while you're going to pick up groceries or whatnot, it's family time at that point because the training has already been done. Now, granted, it's going to be additional cost for that, but you're paying for the training somewhere anyway. Yeah. But the convenience of not having to go anywhere other than pick my kid up and go home. So at 6 o'clock, all kids are gone. Now we're opening up to AAU programs to come in and practice, volleyball clubs to come in and practice, these trainers who train to utilize those spaces to come in and train, in addition to general public coming in, playing pickleball, basketball, whatnot. And so that's going on from 6 to 9. Tuesday morning, we open up and start all over again.
And all the while, you've got life skills classes, workforce development classes, and things like that going on.
It's amazing.
So we won't be able to be at $3 or $5 like Patterson and SportsCom, but that's why we have the nonprofit side.
Right.
This facility will be able to self-sustain based on the weekly programs that we have, and especially with the mega tournaments on the weekend. Between volleyball and basketball, we've got it knocked out, right? But then there's all these
others,
other
the martial
opportunities.
Arts, the cheer, the dance, the wrestling,
So start really knocking some stuff out. I love it.
But the nonprofit will stand in the gap of anybody that cannot afford any of our services, whether it's just, Sally wants to have a membership so she can come in and go whenever she wants, but she can't afford it. We'll look at that and we'll work with her.
One thing I do want to switch to really quickly is the understanding of those mega tournaments and what the impact really looks like. So when people start thinking about a facility like this, you think about these millions of dollars that they could potentially be coming through there. And that's what I like to explain to people. Like, it's coming in, it's going right back out. Because you say, and just high level, if I'm from Iowa and my son has an AAU tournament in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, first thing I'm going to do is get online, Google where is Murfreesboro and how far is it from Iowa, and can I drive or do I have to fly? And you realize you have to fly. So does Murfreesboro have an airport? Well, no, I can fly into Nashville. Oh, wow, really? I'm from Iowa. I've always wanted to go to Nashville. So here's my opportunity. My son's down there to play basketball, my daughter playing volleyball, whatever the case may be. We're going to fly into Nashville. We know that this is a weekend tournament, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we have to get in on Friday. We play at 6 o'clock Friday night. So what time we need to get into Nashville? Probably around 3. So you land, you go downstairs, you get your rental car, you hop on the road, headed 34. There's 34 miles to Murfreesboro. Well, what they didn't factor in is that traffic coming out of Nashville on a Friday. And my son has a game at 6 p.m. So what do we got to do? We don't have time to stop at the hotel to check in. We got to get straight to the 4AO Center. Guess what else we didn't do? We didn't have time to stop and get Gatorade, water, or anything. We're getting straight to the 4AO Center. So you walk in the door, the kid runs in because the team's warming up. Mom and dad's walking in. How much does it cost? Well, you can pay for the day pass or you can pay for the weekend pass. What's it cost? Well, the weekend pass is $75, $50 to $75, depending on who's hosting that tournament. Right. Could be an Adidas tournament, could be a Nike tournament, could be a local tournament. So we'll just say average $75. So mom pays $75, dad pays $75, that's $150. Oh, man, we didn't get a Gatorade. Just got to have a Gatorade or water for this game. Well, let's just buy one at the 4AO Center. Well, how much does that cost? Well, depends on who's hosting that tournament. Could be a local, could be a $5 Gatorade, could be a $6 or a $7 Gatorade, depending on if it's Nike or Adidas or whomever. Right. So you say, let's just say average $5. So mom and dad have spent $155 in the 4AO Center on Friday. How much money is mom and dad going to spend at the 4AO Center the rest of the weekend?
None.
Zero. Because you've already bought your weekend pass.
Right.
You bought that one Gatorade. So as soon as this game's over, we're leaving out of there. We're going to get something to eat, and we're heading into the hotel to check in.
Right.
Next morning, Saturday, we got 2 games, 11 and 1. So we got to be at the gym at 10. So while you downstairs getting breakfast, mom and dad's running over to Kroger or Dollar General, Sam's, getting that case of water for $3 versus that $5. So now we got what we need for the weekend. We go to the 4AO Center. We play our 2 games, and then we're coming out. So we're getting out of there. The last game's over at 2, walking out around 2:30. What everyone wants to do? Everybody wants to go eat,
Go
right?
hang out.
So where's there to eat at around here? Well, what we've always done, when we go to these cities, we don't want a McDonald's. We're not looking for the chain. We're looking for a local restaurant.
We're
What do
looking
the
for a
locals
single
do?
tree.
We're looking for single tree. And so how do you know that? I mean, we didn't get a chance to talk to everyone to find out, is single tree and all. Oh, so we have this board that's going to be up in the 4AO Center that talks about
Our local favorites.
Single tree at the top right there, just saying, hey, this is where you want. And so if we could highlight restaurants like that, every other weekend or something where everyone's getting a chance. Yeah. So now money, your 80% of that spend is out here in this community.
And it's staying in the community.
It's staying in the community.
And then this same community that benefited off of those weekend tournaments can turn around and employ the kids who we're developing for the workforce.
I love it.
Back to the leaders, athletes who become
the
great
biggest
leaders.
thing is it's all about the customer experience. It's all about the person that's coming in. So, of course, once again, keep in mind, I'm from Iowa and I wanted to go to Nashville. So once that game's over at 2, coaches are going to do what with the kids? Because the kids aren't going to want to sit in that hotel. So, I heard the 4AO Center's partnered with Main Event, or they partner with, something
Strike
local
and
around.
Spare.
So what does Murfreesboro truly have to offer here?
Right.
And so we do. You going to do that. Meanwhile, these parents are talking about going downtown Nashville, and then they hear about the traffic. Well, God, I can't go there. So let's just do something here locally.
Or they do that Friday night and they don't do it ever again.
Right. Well,
nope, we stand here Saturday and Sunday. I love it. Well, Derry, you got a Friday feel good for us?
I do, sure do. Hey, guys, listen, based on exactly what 4EO does and is wanting to do, serve others. I know I've mentioned this before, but you will benefit so much more by serving others and doing it with a pure heart and wanting to bless the other person. Don't go in with selfish motives. Take care of those around you and watch yourself be taken care of as well. Y'all know what to do. Find somebody you know. Tell them you love them.
I love that.
Absolutely. I love it.
Guys, look, I couldn't tell you how excited I am that I got to meet you today and have you on a show and learn about what y'all are doing. I'm stoked.
Thanks.
I can't wait to help in any fashion. I feel like you are judged by the legacy you leave behind.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And along Derry's Friday Feel Good, doing to others like you want to be done to yourself is where we should all be.
Yes.
With that being said, it's a nonprofit. We need help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
We're open for land donations. You can go to 4EO Center. So it's the number 4, the letter E, the letter O, and then center.com is our website. And there's a donation button there. We can take Cash App, Venmo, anything that turns into money and can pay for our performa. We'll take it.
Well, we'll take the firstborn as well, because
No.
if we develop that firstborn, they're going to make money anyway.
There you go.
Charlie wants to hold on to that firstborn.
Yeah.
The first one's pretty good.
Mine's already aged
why he
out.
has
So
two
I'm like,
No, that leasting I got, we might have a conversation.
Oh, that's funny.
Look, guys, I appreciate you coming to hang out with us. Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
having
I
us.
can't wait to get this place open,
Agreed.
and we're gonna have a good time. So
We are.
One thing I
y'all-
wanna leave
y'all
you
got
with,
a
Charlie.
friend, please.
It's not about us. It just involves us.
I love it.
So just
Yeah.
remember,
Love it.
this is about the
love it.
community.
Yes.
Amen to that.
For
Amen
each
to
other.
that.
For each other.
I love it. Look, guys, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, all the things. If you want to get involved, please feel free to reach out to me at charlie@singletreebbq.com. Feel free to give me a call at 615-307-0120. And as always, guys, until next time, we'll see you then.
Y'all be good.
Thank you,
Good
guys.
deal. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, leave us a 5-star review and come see us at the restaurant.